What if everything you thought you knew about time suddenly doubled? Picture a world where each day stretches not for the familiar 24 hours, but a staggering 48. Twice the sunlight to bask in, twice the darkness to endure, and twice as many opportunities, or twice as much chaos. Would humanity rise to new heights of innovation and connection, or would we crumble under the weight of unending hours? Today, we're diving deep into a mind-bending question. What if we had 48 hours in a day? Imagine waking up in a world where the clock's hands move at half their usual pace. The sun lingers in the sky for what feels like an eternity, and the night stretches on just as long. How would this fundamental change in our environment reshape the way we live, work, and relate to each other? Before we explore this alternate reality, consider how your life might change if time itself felt almost limitless. And get ready, because by the end of this journey, your perception of time will never be the same. At first glance, an extra 24 hours in every day might seem like a dream come true for productivity. Think about it. Instead of racing through an 8-hour shift, you could have double the time to get things done. Companies might be tempted to extend the workday, imagining a future of booming economies and sky-high output. It's easy to picture a world where more hours at the office mean more progress, more innovation, and more success. But here's the catch. Productivity isn't just about clocking in more hours. It's about human energy, focus, and well-being. Right now, most people feel drained after a standard workday. Imagine stretching that out to 16, 18, or even 20 hours. Burnout would become a global epidemic. Instead of a world thriving on newfound time, we'd see exhaustion, decreased creativity, and a loss of motivation. Businesses, realizing this, would have to adapt. The traditional 9-to-5 would become obsolete. Instead, we might see 2 shorter workdays within the 48-hour cycle, separated by long rest periods. Or perhaps a system of rotating shifts, 6 hours of intense focus, followed by extended downtime. Companies might stagger their operations so that some teams work during the prolonged daylight while others take the night, transforming our concept of the work week entirely. This would ripple across every industry. Night shift workers wouldn't just feel a little out of sync, they'd be trapped in a cycle where their bodies and minds struggle to keep up with an unfamiliar rhythm. Global business, trade, and markets, currently synchronized to a 24-hour world, would fracture. The real question wouldn't be how much more we could produce, but how we could sustain human energy and well-being in a world where the clock no longer matches our natural pace. Now, let's talk biology. Humans evolved with a 24-hour circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells our bodies when to wake up, eat, sleep, and even heal. This rhythm is hardwired, governed by the rising and setting of the sun. Stretching a day to 48 hours would throw this delicate balance into chaos. Would we still need just 8 hours of sleep in 48? Or would our bodies crave more rest? Unable to handle such long periods of wakefulness, some scientists believe we might adapt by breaking our rest into 2 full sleep cycles per day, effectively living 2 days within each 48-hour span. Others think we'd revert to a segmented sleep pattern, similar to ancient humans who napped throughout the day and night. Over generations, our biology might evolve. Melatonin, the hormone that regulates sleep, could adjust its release, to fit the new day length. Perhaps we'd develop a pattern of 16 hours awake, 8 asleep, then repeat, living 2 parallel lives in a single day. But adaptation doesn't happen overnight. In the early years, society would be filled with sleep-deprived, confused people, struggling to match their internal clocks to the world outside. And sleep isn't the only thing that would change. Hormones, metabolism, even our immune systems are tied to the daily cycle of light and dark. Doctors might see new patterns of illness, stress, and anxiety. Medicine would need to reinvent itself just to keep up with our body's new needs. But what about our personal lives? Twice the time in every day sounds like a recipe for stronger relationships. Parents could spend more time with their children, friends could linger over dinner, and couples could enjoy longer, more meaningful evenings together. Students might have more hours to learn, explore, and bond outside the classroom. Yet, there's an unexpected twist. When time feels endless, its value can fade. Right now, an hour with a loved one feels precious because it's limited. If hours were doubled, we might lose the sense of urgency that makes every moment special. Relationships could suffer not from lack of time, but from the illusion of infinite tomorrows. The beauty of limited time is that it forces us to treasure love, laughter, and togetherness. If every day is twice as long, would we take each other for granted? Let's shift our focus to technology and innovation. With 48 hours in a day, the pace of progress might accelerate. Scientists, engineers, and creators would have longer stretches for uninterrupted work, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. We could see breakthroughs in science, medicine, and art as teams harness the extra hours to experiment, iterate, and refine their ideas. But there's a hidden danger. The temptation to work longer and harder could lead to unprecedented levels of burnout. If people push themselves to stay productive for 20, 30, or even 40 hours at a stretch, mental health would suffer. The solution? Artificial intelligence and automation might become even more central to our lives, taking over repetitive or exhausting tasks so humans can focus on creativity, rest, and exploration. In fact, longer days might accelerate our dependence on digital systems and robotics. As the burden of time grows, we'd lean more on machines to help us navigate a world that's become too big for human endurance alone. Now, imagine the impact on nature and the environment. Longer days would mean prolonged periods of sunlight and darkness. If Earth's rotation slowed, one side would face the sun for a full 24 hours before turning away. The consequences would be dramatic. During the sunlit stretch, temperatures would soar. Crops could wither under relentless heat, and animals might struggle to find shade or water. When the world finally turned away from the sun, darkness would bring freezing cold. Plants and animals, accustomed to regular cycles, would be thrown into confusion. Migration, reproduction, and survival patterns would be disrupted. Humanity would have to rethink agriculture from the ground up. Indoor farming, artificial lighting, and climate-controlled facilities might become the norm. We'd need new ways to protect crops and livestock, and entire ecosystems could be thrown into disarray. Even our pets would struggle. Dogs, cats, birds all rely on the sun's rhythm to know when to eat, sleep, and play. As their internal clocks fell out of sync with the world, we'd need to find ways to help them adjust too. Beyond biology and environment, there's the psychological impact of stretching time. Right now, deadlines, birthdays, and weekends create a sense of rhythm and urgency in our lives. If every day lasts twice as long, everything changes. Imagine waiting 36 hours for your favorite show to air, or celebrating your birthday only once every 2 years by the old calendar. The perception of urgency, aging, and achievement would distort. Some might feel almost immortal, with days that never seem to end. Others might feel crushed by the never-ending wait for milestones and accomplishments. Philosophers have long wondered if life's meaning comes from its brevity. If we double the length of a day, do we dilute the essence of living? Or do we learn to find meaning in new ways, redefining what it means to use our time well? So what if we had 48 hours in a day? On the surface, it feels like a gift. More time to work, love, learn, and dream. But dig deeper, and it becomes clear. Time isn't valuable because there's a lot of, isn't it? It's valuable because it's limited. Doubling the hours wouldn't make life richer. It would remind us that what truly matters isn't how much time we have, but how we choose to spend it. If this thought experiment gave you something to ponder, don't let it end here. Share your insights. Connect with others who love exploring the universe's biggest questions, and remember, time may be fixed, but meaning is what we create. The next time you look at the clock, think not about how many hours you have left, but how you'll make them count. Because sometimes the biggest questions are the ones that reshape the way we see everything.